Okay guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about what happened to the Korean b-boys. So if you're wondering what is this guy talking about, I'm not shitting on the current generation of Korean b-boys. I'm a fan of Zoot and some others, but if you've been around in the year, let's say 2000, 2001 till 2012, 13, Korea was by far the best b-boy country. And that's not my opinion. You can actually see this in the result of battles. They won almost everything they entered, and if they didn't win, they were at least in the final. So they were pretty much dominating the b-boy world. So today we're going to talk about what happened, why they were so good, and also why they don't dominate as much anymore today, right? So to give an example of why these Koreans were so good, we have to go ever so slightly more back to 1998, and what happened then was basically b-boys started mastering the air flare. That was sort of the birth of air power combos. Air power is basically flare to air flare to 90. You know, it's now standard, but back then was sort of where it all started, more or less. People were already doing air flares before that, but just one round, right? And from 1998 guys from USA, guys from Germany were really starting to do multiple air flares, doing the craziest combos, right? And the Koreans were simply better at this shit than everybody in the world. Now, of course, they had B-Boy The Ant, who was by far the best at that time, but The Ant was just one of the many Korean B-Boys that were just dominating with power move. Blonde, Blue, Mob, Woo Yin Woo, the little kid who was flying all over, Pocket, Kill, the list goes on, right? I can name so many, and they sort of shaped, what power move was, because not only did they do the highest level of combos, made new combos, made things possible, but they also did it in a very beautiful way that stood out from some others who were more rough around the edges, right? So, and if you think, okay, that's power move, but power move is just one of the many things they were so strong in. They had the strong guys like Physics, Pop, Darkness, etc. These guys were doing these planche combos and awesome hollow back combos, and they stood out in that sense. You had many of the guys that were doing these crazy freezes, like for instance Hong Ten, who was already around then. You had the footwork guys that were actually very smooth with it, doing awesome combos and making actually stuff that's quite, nowadays is sort of more normal than back then. But the Koreans were super smooth with it, and you had also many all-rounders who could do everything very nicely. What sort of also stood out is not what they did, but the way they did it. It looked very beautiful, it looked very polished. If I look back on these battles from back in the day, if you look at France, you had many guys that were actually on a very high skill level, but they were still sort of flopping around then, crashing a lot. Back then, I guess they didn't care so much about this, but the Koreans already were way more polished than that, right? So they were just basically dominating any battle they joined, and when they entered those battles, pretty much destroying the opponent. Basically, what I just talked about was that the Koreans were a specialized bunch. They had guys doing their niche, and in that niche they were killing it and sort of dominating. Now, what happened and why didn't they stay as strong anymore, right? Well, back then we had actually the term Korean dick rider, and those were people glazing these Koreans hard, which makes sense because they were really good. But you also had some Korean haters, right? Guys that didn't like it or were just simply jealous. Pick your poison. And the main criticism was basically, you guys just practice till you get it. It's soulless practicing till you sort of master it. Which, if you don't practice, you don't master shit. So that criticism for me was kind of a pointless thing to say. But they also said like, yeah, you're not really dancing to the guys that were sort of more specialized, right? And the Koreans started listening to this more, and everybody became more all-round, and they were still kind of dominating. But if your niche is, let's say, one-hand balance, and all of a sudden you start focusing more on footwork, then, you know, your niche goes down a bit. And I think the Koreans listened to this because it were guys like Alien Ness with a highly controversial decision against, for instance, gamblers against Mighty Zulu Kings, his own crew, in a freestyle session. And they started listening to this because also these judges were sometimes saying this stuff, right? So that was a little bit what happened. They went ever so slightly down with their skill. The rest of the world got obviously better. But actually the main reason they don't dominate is anymore because the Koreans were so good, because they were in a crew. And as a crew, they were insanely strong. Because they had everything. They had the balance guy, they had the 2 or 3 power movers who were dominating, were better than everybody else. They had very good footwork guys, and they had awesome routines together, right? So they were super strong in that aspect. But the b-boy world started pivoting away from crew battles a lot, and sort of what started happening was a lot of one-on-one battles. Then obviously a specialist that were just doing power move could never win that. So because that was why the Koreans were so good. They were all specialists, put in a crew together and killing it. You still had all-round crew, I mean TIP and some other rivers. They had many footwork guys, but that was also part of what happened and why they don't dominate anymore much. In the crew, they were unbeatable. Solo, they had many, still they dominated for a big part, like Born, Diver. They did really well in these battles, but it was basically like any country had those b-boys, right? Now and finally, what I heard, because obviously I'm not Korean, was there was a big scandal in Korea with b-boys dodging the army. Now that's what I heard, right? So take it with a pinch of salt. But over here in Holland, you don't even have to join the army if you don't want to. And I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't join the army anyway. But over there, it's a big deal. Obviously, they have the North-South situation. And I think it was a big scandal. Also, I think in general, b-boy is simply not as popular anymore as it was. Because, like what I said, since 2001 till 2012, there were so many crazy legends from that country that were sort of dominating in everything. Now you have the kids from China like Rick Zhao doing the flexible moves, but even then you had guys from Korea like Snake doing the same thing already way before, right? So yeah, I think it just a lot less popular than it was before. Maybe it will come back, who knows. But there's another final reason, and that's simply that the rest of the world got a lot better, right? B-boys started picking up on the no crashing thing. So that was why the Koreans don't dominate as much anymore. Maybe they will make a comeback, who knows? Currently for me, Russia's #1, but hey, that's my opinion. That is up for debate. But you know, Korea was dominating the world, and sadly now they are just one of the many countries that have good b-boys. See you next time.